Okay, so you don't normally come to my videos for positivity, and that's okay. I give it to you real, raw, and right now.
They roll coverage.
Okay, so Carolina, it's time that we throw away the lube.
Lube. Yep.
We need to be honest about the situation that we currently see ourselves in. And not just that, we need to be honest about the future. The future of what this schedule could actually flesh out to be. I don't want to go into that game down 0-5. And not only that, but what this team can actually do. If we want to talk about individual performances, we can do that. But right now, we're going to talk about exactly how this offense, how this defense, and of course, how the special teams is going to make an impact this week for the season home opener against the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix Jr. does look good, though. The Falcons have guys. They even have a pass rush now. Can you believe it?
No! I can't believe it!
But we also have some issues of our own. If you guys didn't know, the offensive line is really, really in a tough place.
The guy's practically in a full body cast.
Not only is it in a tough place, it's in a place where we have injuries. You know what? Let's just hear what Dave had to say about those injuries.
Robert Hunt has a torn biceps, and he's going to be going on IR. We're going to leave the window open for him to be able to return, but it's going to require surgery, so he'll be out for a while. Austin Corbett had an MCL at the end of the game, and he'll also go to IR with the possibility of returning.
What do you mean with the possibility of returning?
I mean, I guess it's possible.
Are we truly already in a place where we have two starting offensive linemen that are not only not going to contribute, but going to be out the entire season? I mean, when I predicted it, and yes, I'll toot my horn a tiny bit, I did predict that we would have offensive line problems this year. I just saw it with the writing on the wall. We saw early injuries in June and July to the ankle of Robert Hunt. Again, the torn labrum to Chandler Zavala, torn patella with Chandler Zavala. The bicep problem with Damian Lewis. Obviously, Robert Hunt with that now, too. Corbett gone. There's so much going wrong. But you know what? We need a little bit more confidence from Dave Canales. You know what he did? Didn't give me that confidence. Instead, this is what we heard about the future of both of those offensive linemen.
I can't give you really specific timetables on all that. I think that's kind of going to be a result of like the follow-up and the treatment of it. But I think we'll give you guys more specific timelines, sometime this week.
And of course, because we have some of the best reporters in the NFL, they followed up on Austin Corbett, and he gave us this little piece of information that, no offense, hurts my Panthers soul.
Hey, Dave, I just want to be super clear on Austin. You said he has an MCL, and then you said you weren't sure if it's torn. Should we call it an MCL sprain? Or?
So, it's a grade 3 MCL sprain, and then the specifics of the treatment and all that, I just don't have the specific information to give you all right now. Sorry for making
are you I know you said you're holding out maybe some hope that maybe Robert could come back, but what about Austin? Is he pretty much done for the season?
Nope. I think both have a chance to get back at varying times.
So with all of that news, we're obviously not in a place to compete this year. And I hate to say that. We're 2 freaking games into the season, and we're already having this conversation. Now, there's also other conversations we could have about the quarterback play, but hey, 3 touchdowns, the 2 early turnovers were something. Absolutely something. But hey, let's just see what's going on with Bryce Young. There used to be a game back in the day. It was, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? And I feel like we need to do the exact same thing for Bryce Young, because he is a rhythm guy. In fact, that's something Dave Canales made sure to talk about right here.
But I thought Bryce did a good job playing rhythmic football yesterday.
So if that's the case, and he's saying rhythmic football, is that because of the completion percentage? Is that because of what we saw in that game, which is Bryce needed the confidence. He needs those early completions. He needs to play on time and on task. I mean, Dave went so far as to even say this when talking about Xavier Legette needing to have basically like rapport.
Keep working on his chemistry with Bryce.
It blows my mind that a coach is talking about a first-round wide receiver still needing to get on the same page and build chemistry with the wide receiver.
It's chemistry.
We have a guy like Teteroa McMillan come in day one and immediately become wide receiver one. And to be honest, we've even seen guys like Jalen Coker and, to be honest, Bryson Tremaine take the next step before we've seen a guy like Xavier. So the confidence that he talks about absolutely blows my mind. But you know what? Listen to him talk about Xavier Leggett.
I believe in Xavier. This is a guy that I truly believe, because of the way he's wired, the way that he works at it, the way that he continues to train. He had a great week of practice. He played better. He had some opportunities on the field where the ball didn't go his way. I tried to get him a few early touches. They didn't amount to much, but as the game kind of went on, a few of the other targets, they were close plays. He didn't make them, but I think it's a matter of just finding opportunities. I believe in him. I believe that, he's approached this the right way and just continues to work. So I'm going to continue to encourage him and be in his corner and push him to, keep striving for that and keep working on his chemistry with Bryce, because he's got the talent, and I think at times he can be hard on himself, and he can be really critical of himself. And I want him to make sure that he knows he's supported, that, we got to play ball. Let's go, and there's that balance of pushing them, and there's that balance of also saying, you got this, remember who you are.
And, even though you had a day where you were targeted 8 times, had 1 reception for -2 yards, and you know what? There's this weird stat out there. He's like Jamal Charles. I don't know. When you see a reduced role in the next week, this is what Dave Canales said on that.
So in that case, supporting him means probably keeping him at roughly the same number of reps and just counting on it to work out better? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what you're telling me right now is that regardless of what Xavier has done, his lack of enthusiasm in downfield blocking, running his routes, or to be honest, just doing something after the ball is snapped. There's plenty of times where I can see him literally just standing there, where guys like Jatavian Sanders and Bryson Tremaine are trying to make something happen after the play breaks down. They're trying to leak downfield or lose their man to give Bryce an opportunity to get the ball completed. But to be honest, he has bigger problems now. We have Cade Mays coming in and Chandler Zavala. So let's hear a little bit about that.
We got to evaluate all the guys. We got to kind of see how the week goes. But right now, the plan is to get Chandler in there and to be able to, we'll have Cade. So get those guys back out there playing together. Cade Mays will be at center, and then Chandler Zavala will come in and play guard for us in Rob's spot.
One of the things I also do not want you to forget is that this is one of the top paid offensive lines and was supposed to be a strength. I mean, here's Dave talking about some of our depth pieces, and of course, the team bringing back all of their offensive linemen from 2024.
Yeah, it was the versatility of the group, starting with Brady, being able to play really all 5 positions and to some degree in different spots or another, but that flexibility was huge. Cade being back here as a center, to have that competition and the guys going back and forth, throughout camp, competing for that spot, and Chandler was going to be here, and just kind of seeing where Chandler's future is as a young guy who's really finding good football. So Yash, who we signed the year before as a free agent, that group, just the way that they work together, the way that they, the camaraderie they have, they kind of, they're by number and by size, the biggest group that we have on the team, and they just have a lot of personality, and it was a really cool thing to be able to bring all those guys back.
So yeah, with massive problems on the offensive line, we're going to have issues in a lot of places. But I'm not going to lie, this question seemed a little out of pocket. And to be honest, Dave Canales actually answered it, which surprised the heck out of me. Does this spell the end of the Canales-Bryce Young regime? Possibly. I think you should at least give Bryce to the end of the year, but hey, let's listen to this craziness together.
Are there times because of his size, it might be a hindrance to him being able to see what's in front of him and being able to get rid of the ball? How do you think that affects him at all?
Yeah, it certainly affects shorter quarterbacks. Sometimes you can't see. Sometimes you move for vision. There are ways that you learn how to play football. And I've been around a couple of guys who are at or around or just under 6 feet. And so those do present challenges, but I thought Bryce did a good job playing rhythmic football yesterday.
Okay. And this is the last thing we're going to talk about injuries, because this is Dave Canales talking about how those injuries affect the offense, how they affect his game plan, how they affect how he's going to be calling plays alongside Brad Idzik. There is so much here that we just need to listen to, like
Execution.
execution.
I really think it's about how many possessions you have and what the score is. And that always starts to make decisions for the mode that we need to be in offensively. And for the last 2 weeks, we've made mistakes early in games on both sides of the ball and put us in situations where we're going into half with a pretty good deficit, and I'm in a different mode at that point. That affects the run game. That affects the balance that we want. It affects the mix of play actions, screens, runs, different attacks, different approaches that we can have offensively. And so I think really that's it, Cass, is just, getting back on schedule, playing good football will allow us to have that balanced football that we want to play.
And we've heard a lot about injuries and everything like that, but to be honest, this is Dave Canales telling us about that final drive, about his thoughts about where the Cardinals were really succeeding, not succeeding, and more. So let's hear it from our HC.
Yeah, we'd love to score. I thought they had some nice rushes. Of course, I've watched it now 3 times and just kind of looking at, what could I have called here? What could I have called there when they did this coverage? And I'm standing in the back kind of trying to evaluate the coverages live and get us to the best, possible plays there. And I'll be rethinking that drive, at least for today a couple more times. But, I think, execution all across the board, calling the right plays for the group, the protection, making the plays that we had so we can matriculate the ball down there. I thought I was a little bit aggressive on some of those opportunities there. But once it got into like the third 15, 14 world, we had to kind of chunk it down. We had to try to chunk it down a little bit.
And you know what, Dave? You can only do so much with the pieces that you have. To be honest, the offensive line is going to continually give us issues, whether or not it's injuries, busted coverages, or more. We need guys like Xavier Legette to live up to that first-round grade, that first-round draft that he got. We need other guys like Jalen Coker to come back. I need Hunter Renfrow to turn back the clock and go back to the Raiders, Hunter Renfrow. And you know what? I even need Bryson Tremaine to go out there and to continue to do whatever the heck he's doing, because you know what? It's freaking working. Either way, I want to know your thoughts on this next game coming up. We're obviously playing the Falcons at home. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Tickets are super cheap, so if you want to go to the game, make sure you go get tickets now. They are only going to get cheaper, though, so maybe wait till day of. I don't know. Depends on how much you believe in this team, but I certainly think that we could turn this game into another barn burner like we had last year. But the thing we need to remember is, again, the Atlanta Falcons have a pass rush now, and right now is when the Carolina Panthers have a hurt offensive line. So all I can hope is that we put our best foot forwards, try and put out a good offense, and you know what? Get through another week. The next game, we have the New England Patriots. We're going to New England. That is a winnable game. Drake May looks good, but he doesn't look the best. We've got J.C. Horn. There's a lot of opportunity there. And you know what? There's another game after that against the Dolphins, another winnable game. So you know what? Even if this Atlanta game doesn't get a W, I think we've got one coming down the pipeline. I'm excited for this. I hope you are too, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. I really appreciate you making it this far. It helps out the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. Hopefully one of these other videos are ones that you like as well, but if not, I can't wait to catch you in the next one. My name is Nick, and this has been Roll Coverage.